days to go for the first parliament session after the Modi government's re-election. The Congress is trying to get its act together, but is it really managing to? At an informal meeting held by AK Antony, senior Congress leader, the party discussed state polls coming up this year, including Maharashtra, Haryana, Jharkhand, Jammu Kashmir. Rahul Gandhi was not seen at this meet, and when asked about who is the Congress president since Gandhi quit on 25th of May, here's what Randeep Singh Surjewala had to say.
श्री राहुल गांधी कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष थे, कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष हैं और बने रहेंगे. हम में से किसी को उसमें कोई शक नहीं. राहुल गांधी is the president of the Indian National Congress, and the reports to the contrary are not based upon any facts.
Well, they are clear, but is Rahul Gandhi clear? So, pretty much it's not clear who the party president is, who will lead it in parliament with just days to go for the first session, or whether the leader of the party in parliament will be deemed as leader of opposition. Why should we care, you may ask? Well, because from the opposition side, Congress still remains the party with the largest number of seats. Will this session then be a walkover for the BJP? To speak more on this, I am joined now by Rashid Kidwai, political commentator, Manisha Priyam, political analyst, and Prasenjit Bose, economist and political analyst. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us on the show this evening. Mr. Kidwai, what is going on in the Congress? Do they know? Do they not know? Are they waiting for Rahul Gandhi to figure out what he wants to do, or it's just a de facto decision that he is the president, whether he likes it or not?
I think much of the problem of its own, problem for the Congress is of its own making. I mean, clearly there is a, leadership issue of Congress President Rahul Gandhi. He has own responsibility. He has tendered resignation. That resignation should be accepted and alternative arrangements should be made. It's like a bit like, ostrich-like approach. The, people like Mr. Surjewala, he's just trying to, wish away the cold, stark reality that's there. Second part is that, the Congress should have a, leader in the House, in Lok Sabha, the Congress party in parliament. They have not done that also. These are very basic and elementary things. I can understand, a sense of despondency, but then, somebody has to, I mean, this is not something, a defeat is not unique in electoral contest. When people are fighting, the opposition kept losing. I mean, the BJP kept losing so many elections, and now they have arrived in a very big way. For instance, I mean, Congress kept on rolling for years. So I think there is a bit of a, shock. I think, in 2014, Congress was expecting a rout, but in 2019, they were not expecting this, figure of 52. So it
Shock.
is a kind of,
a
kind of emotional, psychological trauma that.
No, I understand the shock, I understand the trauma. My question is, what next? Prasenjit Bose, do you think that the Congress will get its act together, and what is the opposition doing right now? We seem bereft of any opposition just going into a very key parliament session.
Well, I think what is happening is most unfortunate. And although it is for the Congress party to settle the question of leadership within their own party, I do not belong to the Congress party, but I think that the Congress leadership is, rather than running away from the problem, they should try to get their acts together, put their heads together to find out what really has gone wrong. And this is, I don't think, is good for democracy. If the opposition appears to be rudderless, it appears to be completely run out of ideas. This is not good for the health of our democracy. But it is not only the Congress. I think the same can be said for a host of other opposition parties. And it is most unfortunate because the economic situation in the country is actually quite grim. Despite the government having won a big majority, I don't think that the economic problems have gone away. They remain. And it is for the opposition to take up the issues of facing the ordinary people, and especially when a full budget is supposed to be presented in the forthcoming budget session, it is high time that the opposition come out of this state of complete cluelessness, and they should focus on the issues concerning the people in the interests of our democracy.
Let me get Manisha Priyam into this discussion. Manisha Priyam, are we being too harsh by expecting the Congress to get its act together ahead of the parliament session? We know there's some key legislation which will come in place. The triple talaq bill will be reintroduced. There might be something on, labor policy reform, etc. And the largest opposition party doesn't know who's their leader, whether they have LOP status or not, and who their president is at this moment, or where Rahul Gandhi is for that matter.
I mean, yes, I mean, Congress needs to pull its act together. It is, as of now, whether it has the statutory stature of LOP or not, which it clearly doesn't have because it falls short for the numbers to get the LOP position to be on those key appointments. But they are the largest opposition party. They fought this election as an all India party. Mr. Rahul Gandhi frontally took on Mr. Narendra Modi during the course of the entire campaign. Now, in Lok Sabha, therefore, although they have not been able to make a mark in the national elections, they do need to have a presence in terms of the debates, in terms of a critique, in terms of alternate policies. And this is a responsibility that they cannot just shy away from. Being in the opposition is a very responsible position. You don't fight parliamentary battles only to win and become a minister or a prime minister. You fight it for the parliamentary process itself. You are a responsible member of parliament. On top of that, there is a responsibility for articulating a critique or even an alternative of government policies, and a healthy debate on the floor of the parliament, in the floor of the Lok Sabha especially, where money bills have utmost importance, and that's very, very important to do. And the Congress therefore cannot, at this point of time, having won the 55 seats that it has to definitely play that role. On top of that, it also has the job of floor coordination with other political parties, because it doesn't have numbers of its own. Even though they are not a coalition, the issue of floor coordination is very, very important. And not only should they clarify the issue of leaders, they have clarified who their leader will be in the parliament itself, but they also need to have a backroom coordination strategy as far as the parliament is concerned. This is a budget session of the parliament, and this readiness is required of the Congress party. It's not asking for too much.
Do you think that this sort of disarray gives the government a smooth ride in its first session and in this very key session? I'm going to take that question to Rashid Kidwai.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if there is a lot of numbers are there, I think the Congress overall strategy for Parliament would be, whenever when the session starts from Monday, you see they will try to block, obstruct, make noise. But this is that stage is gone. I mean, the opposition will draw a lot of flack because after all this is a very important session. Remember, the Congress has a huge pool of talent. It's not just one Shashi Tharoor or Manish Tiwari. Among 52 there are people who understand economics, who understand country's issues, who can contribute, and there is a huge kind of non-Congress, non-NDA parties are there, like Jagan YSR Congress, this Telangana Samiti, and several other smaller parties. So there, and things like labor reforms have a huge repercussions to a large number of our workforce, and opposition has a very important role to contribute in terms of forcing some kind of amendments, diluting few things and all. So, but Congress is not looking at these things at all. I think the more problem is not at the end of Gandhi's, but the Congress party, those people who are holding important position, because they are just, as I said, ostrich-like approach. They don't want to face
It seems to be at standstill till there's clarity on that. Yes, but there seems to be a standstill till there's clarity on that. And Manisha Priyam, please come in here. Today, Randeep Singh Surjewala said very clearly that Rahul Gandhi was, is and will be our president. We've not heard from him, and it has been quite a few days since he said he is not going to stick on, and he's given them some time. Do you think that there should have been clarity by now?
Others who are saying that Rahul Gandhi will continue.
Yeah.
See, it's the others around him that are saying that Rahul Gandhi will continue. As far as that initial moment was concerned, Rahul Gandhi seemed to have said that he is not going to go back on the resignation issue. Now, that's not the last that one heard of it. So, now Randeep Singh Surjewala is coming and saying that no, he is going to continue. So, and not only had Rahul Gandhi said that he is not going to continue, he had said, don't bring my sister in, don't bring any of the Gandhis in, clearly ruling out that his mother or his sister would not step in if he stepped away. So, what is it that has happened? Will the Gandhis continue to be the frontline leaders for the Congress as a political party and in the parliament itself? If the answer is yes, then clearly that needs to be clarified as well. I mean, it could have been an internal party matter. It's been now some time since the Lok Sabha elections finished, close to a month now, the budget session in full swing now, and party political leadership positions need to be clarified. They can't be left hanging in the air. Now, Randeep Singh Surjewala coming and saying it would be a tad bit better if the clarification came from Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself at this point of time.
Yeah, right now there's a lot of speculation about where he is. There is some speculation that he is not in India. We don't know that for sure, but this is a time to have more visibility, not less. So now let's turn our attention to a state where the opposition is definitely alive and kicking, and in this case the opposition is the BJP. On the defense is the Trinamool Congress. Since the elections, which showed a massive surge for the BJP in West Bengal, reports of political violence have become common. Today, we saw some pictures, and we'll show you some of the scenes in Kolkata, where BJP workers carried out protests against the killing of their workers and were pushed back by the police. Both the BJP and the TMC have been trading charges of political violence against each other over the last few days. But behind all of this rhetoric is the real fight for the key state where the BJP has seen potential and now refuses to let go. Who's looking ahead for the Battle of Bengal so far? Let's continue that conversation with our analyst. Prasenjit, here is where I'm coming to you on what really is going on, because right now it's he says, she says. Sitting outside, the sense is that there is a lot of political violence in West Bengal, that both sides are hitting out at each other. The BJP paints itself as a victim in this narrative, says several of its workers have been killed since the results were announced, and points to the deteriorating law and order in the state. Yes, Prasenjit, can you hear me?
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
That was all for you.
See,
Yes.
first of all, as far as the political violence in West Bengal is concerned, it's not that it has suddenly started. Unfortunately, the political culture in the state has degenerated to such an extent over the years that ultimately political battles are being fought at the cost of people's lives. This has been happening at least for the past 2 decades, and right now what we are witnessing is that ever since the Lok Sabha election results have come, the BJP has seen a surge in the state, as you have mentioned, and obviously the BJP is trying to create a situation in the state where the central government can intervene. There is a lot of open threats being given by BJP ministers of invoking Article 356, imposing President's rule and so on. The problem is that both the state government as well as the opposition parties, I don't think that it will be fair to actually pin the blame only on either of the two parties. There is a pattern in this. The violence predates the elections. Now obviously it has been going on for some time, because most of the people in the Trinamool today, in the BJP today, are people who have defected from the Trinamool. They were in the Trinamool even a few months back. There are people who have just defected and they have gone into the BJP now, and it is basically violence over political turf and territory. Now obviously law and order being a state subject, it is the state government's utter failure, and the police administration in Bengal lacks all credibility. It is a completely partisan administration, partisan police, and even the higher echelons of bureaucracy, the way they have got politicized, they are just identified with the ruling party. That is a part of the problem. There is no fairness, so there is no justice. So when murders take place, the only way to settle scores is to do counter violence, and I think that is, unless and until this vicious cycle stops, and obviously the initiative has to come from the state government, from the ruling party, but I think that the central government and the BJP,
the way the Trinamool has responded right now, the way Mamata Banerjee has responded, she is showing no signs of backing down. She is feeling insecure on her turf and is going to hit back in whichever way she can. Manisha, Priyam, please come in on this point about what we're seeing in Bengal right now. We know that the BJP figured out a way to battle Mamata Banerjee on her turf on her terms in light of how politics in the state has unfolded over the last many years. We're going to possibly see this violence only escalate.
I mean, there should be a willingness on the part of both parties to stop this violence. This is not what elections are all about. The results are done, there are clear victors, the results are done and dusted, and if there is a will to defeat Mamata Banerjee, it has to be through a battle for the ballots. That's something the BJP has done, and it knows how to win elections. On the part of Mamata Banerjee, she is only a chief minister of an Indian state. For her to have her writ run large through the use of the police machinery is not something that clearly behoves very well. So, you know, both parties need to back off, but the point is, you can't speak to power, especially when, you know, one lady is the chief minister of a state and the other is an incumbent that has the possibility of being able to defeat her in a forthcoming state election. But clearly, blood is not the way that state election should be fought, and the bloody battle lines should be stopped right away. There could be a way of consensus building between the two parties and stopping the violence. Remember, votes and electoral change will happen in the best sort of way only when there are peaceful conditions, and there should be an urge therefore to bring the peaceful conditions back on track. This type of violence on the roads, on the streets is not going to help the process of peaceful elections and a choice of a future political leader for the state of Bengal, West Bengal, as and when the state elections happen. This posturing on the roads, this taking violence as a route for electoral change is clearly a script that is not approved of within the framework of the Indian Constitution.
No, absolutely. It's not approved, it's not right, but the fact is that it's happening. And Rashid Kidwai, who's coming ahead in the perception battle among the opposition leaders right now, and of course in her state it's the BJP that's the opposition, but pan-India among the opposition leaders, in a sense Mamata is the only one who's, you know, sort of well and kicking and trying to hit back, but it's leading to gross law and order in her own state, which will perhaps end up harming her prospects in the next assembly elections, which is a big prize that the BJP is eyeing.
Yes, Tamanna, you see, the real tragedy for Bengal is that both sides are, you know, unrelenting. They think that, you know, they stand to gain a lot. Mamata Banerjee is trying to still, you know, project herself as someone who can, you know, take on the BJP, who does not care for the office of Home Minister, Governor, Prime Minister, and she's trying to, you know, send a signal to all over the country, all those people who are not supporters of BJP NDA, that, you know, she is one person who has this kind of, you know, leadership potential and quality to take them on. On the other side, the BJP, as Manisha ji was rightly saying, you see, is not realizing the elections are over. Now, if I mean, it's all right for a political party to, you know, prepare for assembly elections, but that kind of pressure, the kind of, you know, zeal, see, violence has no place in democratic society, in civil society. So this kind of thing, if all these institutions that BJP is occupying in central government, they should be non-partisan, they should have a, you know, respect for federal structure of the constitution. Unfortunately, that there also the, you know, that sort of, you know, vision is not very clear. So as a result, we have a situation where there is every day there is drama, violence, killing, blood. It's something extremely unfortunate, and worst part of it is that everyone is trying to play, you know, a victim card.
In the middle of all of this, Prasenjit, what is happening with you know, the left and the Congress? They become a politically they become persona non grata. Do you think that they've completely ceded ground in West Bengal? It's all about the BJP and the TMC, and don't the pictures of clashes every day with you know, the current state government position as oppressor actually help the BJP much more in making greater inroads into the state?
Yeah, I think that, you know, Congress had become a marginalized force in Bengal for ever since the Trinamool Congress party was formed. I mean, you know, Congress actually has been restricted to the North Bengal earlier, and now basically 2 districts of Bengal. As far as the left is concerned, yes, I mean, I think because of they committed many mistakes because of which they went out of power. Then for the past 8 years, they just remained very arrogant and refused to accept that they had committed those mistakes. And now you have a situation where en masse the left support has shifted over to the BJP, and part of the reason why this has happened is because in the face of the violence unleashed by the Trinamool, the left leadership was seen to be insensitive. They did not stand by their supporters, their cadres. So many of them have shifted over to the BJP with the hope that with the central government they will get some protection and some relief from the relentless attack of the ruling party here. So I don't really see the left, becoming relevant, at least in the near future. It is the state will remain polarized politically between the Trinamool and the BJP. But one thing I can say for sure, that the way the whole situation is going on in West Bengal, because it is not only political violence, along with that there is an aspect of communal polarization that is happening in the state as well. And I can tell you that a lot of people in West Bengal are not very happy. They are very unhappy with the direction in which the politics of the state is going. So whether this status quo will remain, this polarization will remain in the days to come, we need to see. But I think that there may be some unforeseen unforeseen events may unfold in the days to come, because if this is the way the state government and the central government continues to behave,
by unforeseen events?
Remain.
What do you mean, Prasenjit, by unforeseen events? Because right now the call is to impose president's rule in the state, to put up a case for the fact that the law and order situation is completely out of hand, and that's why it calls for intervention. A situation like this would play right into what Mamata Banerjee wants.
Well, I think that I hope that that would not happen, because if the BJP does that, it will be a patently undemocratic act. It is completely against the spirit of federalism, and law and order is a state subject. The Trinamool Congress government is failing to protect law and order, to maintain law and order. There has to be democratic opposition to that. If the centre intervenes in the way that many are expecting them to do by imposing president's rule, I think it will be a disaster. There will be a huge opposition to that. But what I mean is that I think that the people are not going to remain silent spectators. If this continues to happen, there will be, when I say unforeseen circumstances, I am basically talking in terms of democratic movements building up on behalf of the people. That is, I think that the situation in West Bengal is really becoming intolerable for a very large number of people.
Okay, so the political parties claim to represent democratic movements by people, and if they're not doing that, then it's not too clear what they're doing. Rashid Kidwai, how do you see this whole situation unfolding? Because it's clear that no side wants to relent and is not going to.
Yes. Yes, but as Professor Bose was suggesting, you see, it's a very alarming situation due to this kind of communal tension in that whole kind of political polarization or movement. There is also a thing to ponder over, the ease at which our political activists shift their loyalty. I mean, there is a joke going on that that Vam Dal, that leftists have become Ram Dal. The ease at which the left cadre, the left voter has moved from ideological driven political party like the left to a right-wing party like the BJP. Oh, this is a very telling commentary. I mean, it requires a kind of kind of research and study that why this kind of thing is happening, and nobody is complaining about it. The BJP is getting fresh, committed, and I would say well versed in political violence, cadre, almost for free. From the left, and this shows that the left movement has collapsed in Bengal and perhaps elsewhere also. So this is also something that we need to take a note of it.
No, absolutely. After a point, I know a politician's job is 24/7, 365 days a year. Not every politician can afford to take breaks. But even so, resorting to violence as a way of pushing your politics is not the answer. Eventually, the people will reject it. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the debate this evening. But before we wrap up this edition of the India Development Debate, I want to just leave you with these pictures. Just a warning here that they are disturbing ones. This is pictures of journalist Amit Sharma being assaulted, stripped, and he says he was even urinated upon by a team of railway policemen who were upset when he covered a story about them, a derailment of a goods train near Dhimanpura. This has taken place in Uttar Pradesh, and after the video has gone viral, action has been taken by the UP police, who condemned the incident and suspended the SHO and one constable in the case. But the fact is that this could take place, that police officers thought it was okay to attack and assault a journalist. This has to end. We leave you with that, and thank you once again for joining us on the show.